Hello, Dynamic Directions. Today we're going to talk about our semi-annual investment lineup updates. I hope everyone had a great holiday season and has settled into what's been a very exciting 2020 thus far. We've had an Iranian attack, we've had a coronavirus, and we may have a Guinness flu hit before St. Patty's Day, if you know what I mean. But on a more serious note, let's talk about changes to the models we're running. On the fixed income side, the main changes you'll see is we have more allocation to TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. We put this trade on in December. Burns was looking at kind of what the expected inflation rates were, what was being priced into the securities, and we felt like we had a probably pretty good opportunity to have our clients make some money, especially if inflation heats up a little bit more than what has been thought to be a pretty mundane forecast. Secondarily, kind of in the quasi-fixed income, quasi-stock field would be mortgages. In the fourth quarter, we went into this position a little bit deeper. Reason we like mortgages is traditionally when you're owning mortgages, you're the bank, and two things can happen that's not good. One, people stop paying you, I should say, or people refinance on you. And given the bottoming of rates in general in August, the new mortgages being printed so far for the time being probably have a fairly low chance of refinance risk on them. And we went into that with an REM position to go along with the TIP that we put in on the fixed income side. When it comes to REITs, we've done a little bit more with Medical Properties Trust, MPW. You will see that in several of our models. They got better news in November with Medicare coming out saying that they will approve more procedures to be done outpatient and more invasive procedures, which typically means more money and more money for the surgery centers, which MPW owns. On the equity side, we've continued to have a little bit of an overweight to quality factors versus momentum, but continued to be invested in both. Momentum has started to outperform really in the last month. Today's the 28th of February. Year to date, there's a pretty good gap in performance for momentum over quality, probably the biggest gap in the last 12 to 13 months. Traditionally, you want to have more quality at the end of a business cycle that it looks like we're in, but it's good to have both of those. You'll see those in the portfolios. As far as indexes go, two other things you'll see more. One is the equal weight rising dividend index, RDVY. It's heavy in financials. And we're overweight in that area. That had a very good year last year, outperforming pretty much most benchmarks. And finally, you'll see more of a position index-wise in the VIGI, Vanguard International Dividend Appreciation Fund. This kind of goes with our theme to get a little bit more exposure internationally in 2020 as a whole. Funds we're using there is the Virtus VIISX International Small Cap has been one of our flagships. And of course, the granddaddy of them all, the Oppenheimer Developing Markets Fund, ODVYX. Now, the ODVYX has caught a little bit of a sniffle based on the corona flu, so it went from a decent start to the year to down about 3% as of this morning. But we feel like China will have no other course of action rather than to just kind of heap economic stimulus upon economic stimulus, and that should have a rising tide lift all boats area in East Asia, and that should help the Developing Markets Fund, to name one. So that's kind of where we are. You'll see a couple other names come in the first quarter, more water trades in our more aggressive portfolios in our individual stock numbers like ITRI. Water companies have done well. Even yesterday's big downdraft, we were down 400 plus on the back of the coronavirus. American Water Works made a new high. And we've kept our gold positions where they were. We had a thought to take them down at the end of the year, but the more research we read from BCA, they really were contending that a thing they're concerned about is assuming Trump wins the election, what's Trump's trade policy is going to be if he's untethered from a re-election campaign, and will he be more aggressive? And they're not saying that those policies might be bad or they might be good, but they're going to be different. So the way you try to stave off different, hurting your client's money, is to have a decent allocation of gold. So we've retained that in the GLD, a couple of the miners, and the miners index. So that's kind of an update generally on where we are with the models. Talk to you next month.